Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Super Switch Headz, the premier Nintendo podcast on all of the internet. My name is Summer Rain.
My name is Patrick Nisley.
My name is David Howe, and boy, oh boy, ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special guest joining us on episode 230 of the podcast. We got the wonderful DCD himself. Dan Murphy has joined us once again. How's it going, Dan?
Thank you for having me, guys. I'm so happy to be back again.
Of course.
Yes, thank you so much, Dan, for being here. Dan is joining us today to talk all about live service games, our main topic for today. Before the main topic, we will also be covering this week's news. We've got a couple of games coming out this week, probably contenders for those Game of the Year awards. And we're finally going to be able to discuss the Microsoft Activision merger being complete. But before all of that, how is everybody doing? How's everybody's week been?
You know, last week, Summer said your body will let you know when you've done too much. Well, my kid got sick this weekend, and he gets sick very often. But
school does that.
Most of the time, I do not get sick. 99% of the time, I do not. Well, the 1% hit this time. I think it's because I've been staying up late, burning the candle at both ends. Work's been a lot with people out. So, he stayed home from school, and we all stayed home because I slept all morning and like in some in the afternoon, and then I worked from home. So I don't know. Hopefully we'll both feel better tomorrow, though. I'm not 100% sure that's going to happen. I'm not terrible. I'm just tired and scratchy throat, and I'm afraid of what's next, but we'll see. Maybe that'll be it.
I bet that'll be it.
Yeah, I'm done.
Every time I say something like that, though, I'm like, I bet your kid didn't break his leg. Surely and it just always is. Yeah. That's silver lining.
So that's dominated my last, like my impressions of whatever the week. But otherwise, I had some friends over. It's been good. It's just that's kind of the current state. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. I did some like hanging this week with some friends as well. Checked out the goddamned eclipse, the solar eclipse, the annular eclipse that happened the other day. Raw dogged it, stared right at that fucker. I can barely see you guys right now.
Don't fuck with me like that.
I've just got orbs in my eyes at all times now. No, but it was a good time. I hung out with the homies, hung out with some woo homies, Jeremy and Rob. We hung out. We played a little bit of tennis, some IRL tennis, which is a game that's based on Mario Tennis. And
no pickleballers on the court, right?
Nope. Actually, there were pickleballers, and I just pointed at the sign that said tennis play only until they left, which is great. And then, we played a little bit of like games as well. We did some like F-Zero 99, and we played 3-player Vampire Survivor, which was really fun. I'm getting up there. I haven't done a 4-player yet, but that was the furthest I've gotten in the game so far. I was playing with 3 people, so that was a pretty good time. And then, I had the pleasure also, got a little bit of a preview of Super Mario Wonder is what I'll say this weekend. Got to play a little bit of World 2, totally legal ways. But man, I'm enjoying it. He got an early copy, shipped through Amazon, of course. And man, oh, dude, I can't wait to talk about it next week. I was like, all right, this is enough. I've played enough. I want to play the rest of my own. But co-op was a lot of fun. And so it was nice seeing some friends this weekend. How are you doing, Summer?
Yeah, the show that I was in wrapped up this past weekend, and it was like all shows that are like this, right? It's like a little emotional when it ends, but at the same time, you're also like, I'm happy for it to be over. It went really well. I ended up doing another show on Friday the 13th as well, just like a Halloween spooky themed show. And so similarly to Patrick as well, right? Like, how you're just like running on adrenaline and you're busy and suddenly you're not busy and like your body's not running on that adrenaline anymore. And I'm not like full on sick, but like, I'm definitely like, I'm tired.
Yeah, me too.
But it was really, excellent. And I did squeeze in viewing the eclipse. we ended up looking at it through like stacked like old film that was like weirdly the perfect way to look at it. I don't know why. Like everybody knows how to hold things in front of your eyes. I don't know why I'm doing that with my hands.
No, thank you for the visual. Yeah.
It was also here in Oklahoma City. We had the Red Earth Festival on Saturday. We got downtown just in time to see the parade. So it's like kind of in line with Indigenous Peoples Day. To like celebrating all of the Indigenous folks here in Oklahoma City, and got to walk through that festival on Saturday. Just nice to support that stuff here. Just otherwise I slept a lot.
I seem to remember something about sleeping in the past. Maybe I'll have to do some of that again sometime soon.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you should try it. It's pretty nice.
I'm going to take some melatonin right after this. Yeah.
Me too. I'm taking melatonin as soon as we're done.
Dan, how have things been for you?
Yeah, Dan.
Well, as someone with 6-month-old twins in the house, I don't sleep at all.
Yep.
Get so jealous when people talk about sleep. I'm like, oh my God, I miss that. I used to like go to bed at 10 and wake up at 11. Weekend was good. Nothing really too special. I started traveling for work again recently. And I'm trying to, this is my first summer with kids. So I'm like trying to find the balance of like, I coach baseball, and then like, I'm also trying to get a tour card in golf and like have kids and also care about work. So, I just been like trying to figure out that balance, and like, I finally feel like I got to the point where I'm not half-assing everything. So, but it's just in perfect time for the summer to end and me not to do all these things again. So, it's been a chill weekend. I hung out with the dog. We went out to like some fall festival with the kids and stuff. So, nothing too much.
Nice.
Hell yeah. Yeah. Sounds nice.
Mm-hmm.
Well, last week we did an episode on Detective Pikachu Returns, and Dan, you were here, but we were going to shout you out anyway, just because you made a great comment. Over in our Discord, our friend DCD, who is here with us today, said this episode was lit. Literally every topic you guys talked about had so much passion. And then when you got to Detective Pikachu, it was a shoulder shrug and then back to the good stuff.
I think pretty much all it was. It was amazing. One of my favorite episodes. Like, it was like screaming and yelling, and then it's like, oh yeah, Detective Pikachu. That's a game.
It's all right.
I felt like I was like on one that I feel like I went like mask off on gamers that episode. So apologies, everybody.
We were also still discussing Detective Pikachu, and you literally started screen sharing your Picross.
It was weird.
And then on YouTube, Hans Gauger said, quick correction, Mist 3 Exile is not like Google Maps Street View. Google Maps Street View is like Mist 3 Exile.
That is absolutely correct.
Over on Instagram, Sprowlix2 said, if you enjoy Pokemon, you'll love this ep, gang. For all the passion about the other topics, mostly. No, they didn't say that. I added that. But and then I wanted to give some personal shout outs because this weekend my neighbor gave me some Eclipse glasses, and my neighbor's brother, who is sometimes over there, said, or my neighbor told me that he's been watching the show. So shout out to Jamil.
Oh, hell yeah.
For that.
Hey, Jamil.
Hey, Jamil.
And then a new friend of mine, Brian, also mentioned that he's been watching the show, so or listening, or sometimes one or the other. But thanks,
Hi,
Brian. Yeah, hello. Thank you. And then DCD, you got something for us?
Yeah, shout out to former Switch Headz host Matthew for sending me a Pyramithra amiibo.
There you go.
Thanks,
Awesome.
Matthew.
Yeah. Well, if you too want to be shouted out on a future episode, definitely leave us a comment on our episode on one of the social media platforms, or send us a note with what you're thinking about. Anything we say, we'd love to hear your thoughts on it. And then we also appreciate it if you share the podcast online or leave a review on Apple, or, definitely head over to the YouTube and check out the video version and hit like and subscribe there.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll talk about news for the week. We're going to start off with the big one, which is that Microsoft Activision merger. It is a done deal.
Fucking finally. My God.
How long has it been? Like, this is crazy.
It's been
1 week since you looked at me.
You know I'm gonna interrupt here. I had a very short stand-up comedy career, and literally the only good joke I had was this. It was, hey, here's a fun party trick. Whenever you're at a party and your friend Ben shows up, turn to everybody and go, it's Ben. All right, sorry, we can continue.
Well, I don't remember how long it's been. I just know that joke now. It's been a while.
I was like, what joke could you possibly have at normal parties that's about the Activision Blizzard merger?
About these mergers and acquisitions. Hey, no respect.
Well, it was like a year, right? I don't know.
It's been longer than a year for sure. Yeah,
at least a week.
At least a week.
At least a week.
What merger do they have like a trailer that they put out for this one?
A merger that they've been working on for over a year. You know, they've had a long ass time to just like sit on shit to put out on social media whenever this thing goes through.
You know, how long do you think they've been sitting on this trailer just ready, or do you think it was a?
Oh, at least 1 week.
At least a week.
All right. We got to move on to some different jokes, gang. But yeah.
Over a year, like.
A friend of the show, Frank Netcher, actually pointed something out. He made a post on Instagram basically saying that like because of this merger and because of some sort of like unionizing efforts that involve Microsoft, now every Activision and Blizzard employee has the opportunity to like vote to unionize. So there's like stuff like that like wasn't a thing before that they can now like do. There's like all these little weird things that we're going to be like finding out about like what the future holds for this merger. That was just one that I found really interesting. You know, I think there's a lot of talk, obviously, about like what franchises are going to come back, what's going to be thrown onto Game Pass. Are we going to see like back compat stuff being thrown onto Game Pass? Like, I think, you know, Rock Band. Everybody wants to see Rock Band or a return of Guitar Hero, something like that. So I think
I do.
Yeah. I think it'd be great, you know, if you know all these fucking studios that Activision's been putting on just Call of Duty games, hopefully with like a little bit of a shakeup. You know, we could start, you know, maybe we'll get Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4 instead of them working on Warzone skins or whatever, which I'm sure we'll talk about more in the main topic here. But I don't know. I'm excited to see what the future holds. I'm still scared of giant mergers and acquisitions, but I'm just glad the fucking thing is over.
I know they had to make some concessions in the UK too around cloud gaming and around some of the concerns that the UK board had. I don't know if that's just in the UK or if it's stuff that'll happen elsewhere, but it'll be interesting to see that kind of stuff, like the commitment to putting certain things on certain platforms for amounts of time and stuff like that.
Yeah, a lot of streaming is through Ubisoft Plus.
And then
Yeah, which is weird. They like had to use a different service. Just for, I guess, probably a temporary measure. You know, Phil put out a message being like, PlayStation and Nintendo fans, like you can still enjoy like all the Activision games you love on your platforms of choice. You know what I mean?
Until you can't.
Yeah, that was the unsaid part, right? It's like the until, you know, the time allotted that we've put in to appease lawmakers subsides.
Yeah. Well. And then we got news related to Bobby Kotick, who is, you know, currently I don't know exactly, you know, how official this merger is or what have you, but the Activision Blizzard CEO, Bobby Kotick, is apparently going to be stepping down at the end of the year.
Fuck that guy. So good to see him go. Welcome to Canceled Island. I hope you brought a towel.
Because we don't provide towels.
No, dude. It's just sand and other scumbags. The only thing you find on Canceled Island.
Oh, but that's good news, I guess. Though who knows? Maybe the person that comes in after is worse. You never know.
I doubt it, man. I mean, it's kind of hard to get worse than Bobby Kotick, and
that's a low bar.
Yeah. He's a real piece of shit. I mean, maybe if it was like Yves Guillemot from Ubisoft, that would be worse, I guess. But no, it's. I mean, Jordan called it last week. I'm glad to. He's not out yet. He's out in January, but ta-ta.
I know that everybody's like, we're done talking about this, but we're not done talking about this. This is gonna be an evolving, discussion as like all the things you just said, David. So buckle in as we discover what all this means in the future. But somebody else who is stepping down is under the giant Microsoft flag now. Bethesda's Pete Hines is retiring. That announcement was just made. He's been there for 24 years. And that's, not something you see a lot, that somebody stays at one company for that long in game or gets to retire in games. Often they switch places and switch careers and that sort of thing. So Pete Hines is well regarded though. So
yeah, no, he gets to go to Good Guy Beach.
Good Guy Beach.
But no, it's sad to see him go. I'm kind of curious as to why now. It doesn't seem like he's that old. Like, I don't know, a lot of like games industry guys are like retiring in like their 50s, and it's like, damn.
I mean, if they have the money to do it, and I mean, we talked about this, I think, on the Nintendo CEO episode about like the crunch that these guys went through in their early years, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I'm sure that ages you.
Yeah. Totally. Just hope a bunch of disgruntled Starfield players didn't scare him off.
And then, unless there's anything else on any of that, we're going to move on to sort of the big games coming out this week. There's several of them. First up is Sonic Superstars. That's already out by the time of this episode being released. So that's already out there and available. We got, a Metacritic scores for that. What's it sitting at right now?
It's like 76.
It's scoring like a Sonic game.
It's scoring like a Sonic game.
Pretty much.
That's pretty much. And I'm very excited.
Yeah. Are you picking this up? You picking this up day one?
Yeah, I already pre-ordered it, so
wow.
Got it
cool.
ready to go.
What are you going to play it on?
Switch.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
I've heard performance is good on Switch. If anything, it's like maybe a little bit muddy, but it's like not like something like a Sonic Frontiers, right? Which was kind of unplayable on Switch, right? I mean, a lot of people played it on Switch, but it's definitely not the place you want to play it, right? But that's exciting. I don't know that I'm going to pick this up right away. I really wanted to, and I was planning on it. But I think I got convinced by some people in the Discord just being like, hey, this is probably going to be half off come Black Friday, which is like a month away.
Unlike Mario.
Yeah. And I've got Mario coming up, and there's like so much shit, and like I really just should sleep this week, so like maybe I can do that instead of playing Sonic Superstars, and then Mario Wonder will be out, and I'll just play that, right? So that's my plan currently, and some more tennis. I'll play tennis.
That steps us right into obviously the big Nintendo release is Super Mario Bros. Wonder, coming out on Friday, October 20th. There's already, it's been, I guess the thing that maybe we should say here is that the game is leaked. I mean, if you didn't pick that up already in our discussions. So if you're trying to 100% avoid spoilers, definitely keep your eyes shut until Friday.
Yeah, I've heard like, I don't ever open TikTok, but I've heard that there's just tons of Mario Wonder live streams on TikTok right now.
Whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah, everybody's like, every other live stream on TikTok is like Mario Wonder right now.
What?
Yeah, apparently.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah. Probably if that's your algo.
Yeah, the only live streams I was getting today was like Santa in his workshop and jazz players. So
godforsaken app. Keep sending me TikToks though, Summer.
No, I mean TikTok is not letting me see the spoilers. It knows that I don't want to see spoilers. It knows I want to see Santa and jazz bands.
Well, we're going to talk all about that next week. I don't know.
I can't wait.
There's much to say right now.
Yeah, we'll wait.
We'll wait. Awesome.
Yeah.
I guess the embargo is still up on it, right? Like, because there's not official reviews and stuff yet.
Have any of you guys legally played it at like Target or Best Buy?
I meant to today, and unfortunately, my Target order was a drive up instead of a pickup inside, so I didn't go inside the Target.
I actually checked it out. It was really fun.
Nice.
So I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it feels really good. I like I feel like Yoshi is fun to control, even though it is baby mode. Just like having that as an option. Like I feel like I'll do a playthrough of the game just as Yoshi at some point. I will say, so far, in the limited time I've had with it, it's like I think I'm gonna do my first run badges off, because I think like some of the badges are fun, but it kind of like is more fun to just like be really close to death all the time. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. Is it too easy, or it arguably could be too easy with certain badges and stuff?
There's ones that like make it slightly easier by giving you like a specific ability, like the wall jump up ability, or like the hat that kind of lets you glide down. Then there's like straight up baby mode ones that are like, it makes it really easy. Like it adds a bunch of blocks that like cover pits and stuff like that, or makes it to where every time you kill an enemy, you get a bunch of coins, or, that's like the baby mode stuff. And then there's stuff that just makes the game really difficult. Like you can never stop running, or you can never stop bouncing, or stuff like that. Right.
That stuff's going to be cool. I'm excited for the guys who like speed run shit and just like do those hard mode badges and don't stop running, or like have shit falling from the sky. Like it's going to be so cool doing that. And I love speed running Mario games too. Like I'm so excited for that.
The speed run's going to be fucking lit. I hope that I know like
so good.
They just announced the lineup for GDQ this year, but hopefully they have Mario Wonder as a secret game. But because somebody will have it down by the time of GDQ. And like I know like Grand Pooh Bear has already been playing it as well. And like people are already modding the game. It's not out for like another like few days. So it's like it's gonna get crazy out there in 2D Mario World.
Before we move on, there has been speculation this past week about who Mario's new voice actor was, and it was confirmed this week that we now know who Mario's voice actor is. It's Kevin Afghani, if I said that right. Who I don't know by name, but after watching their reel that somebody posted, I definitely have watched things they've done, and they are good at imitating voices. So, yeah. How do we feel about this? Do we care? Do we know who Kevin is?
I'd never heard of Kevin Afghani. I mean, he's really young. I think he's like still in his 20s, right? So it's like, he's done some like animes, and he's done, I think, Genshin. He did one of the voices in Genshin Impact, and I think he might also be playing the talking flowers in this game as well. But he's playing Mario and Luigi. But hell, man, I mean, shit. If this could be like a 50-year gig for him, like,
he's just set for life.
Struck
now.
gold.
Yeah, it's like, who knows if this is just going to be the only Mario game that they cast him in. He did just clarify it was just for this game. He didn't say it's just for this, but he's like, I've been cast as Mario and Luigi and Mario Wonder, right? But it's like, if he's got the same tenure as Martinet coming up, like he could be doing, he could be set for the rest of his life just playing Mario, so that'd be definitely a dream gig. So if so, congratulations to him. I know the internet trolls are already being like, oh my God, Mario's woke because Kevin Afghani has pronouns in his bio. So be on the lookout. Woke warriors. Mario's coming for you. Gotta turn your freaking kids gay.
Oh boy. Okay. Well, the other big release this week is the Spider-Man 2 game is coming out over on the PlayStation 5. Is anybody interested in this? Dan, I know you've got a PS5.
No, superhero games aren't really my thing.
No?
No.
I know that the Spider-Man games are well regarded though, and this one is also reviewing super well. Like it's got
the reviews I've read on it, just because I'm interested in like games. It sounds like it's gonna put the other Spider-Man games to shame, and those were supposedly really good too.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's got like a 92, I think, on Metacritic right now, which is crazy. I think it's the first time an Insomniac game has ever hit 90s, at least in the past like 15, 20 years, which is really awesome. Good for them. Happy for them. I wasn't really that excited about this because A, I don't have a PS5, and B, I have the first Spider-Man and I've like barely played it. I like got bored pretty quickly. But the more I look at this game and the more like footage I see, like it looks technically incredible. Like just the way you can like fucking zip through the city, the really fast loading, like ray tracing is on and like all performance modes that you have available. Like it just technically looks incredible. It's like really nice to see people pushing the tech forward in that way.
It finally feels like games are coming out that made you buy a PS5, right? Like the first couple of years, it was just kind of like you're playing the same game on PS4. The graphics aren't really that much better, and the loading is a little bit better. But it's like now it feels like you're into the next gen with some of these games. And watching some of the Spider-Man 2, you're like, holy shit.
Yeah. And this is not cross-platform, right? This is just PS5.
I believe it's just
For
PS5.
now.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And Switch 2. Super Switch. Excuse me.
Super Switch.
Super Switch.
Oh, boy. Next up, we're going to talk about Analog. They've made an announcement. They're the ones who made the Analog Pocket, right? Which was the sort of Game Boy modern console that you can put your carts in. Sounds like they're going to do the same thing for the Nintendo 64, more or less. This is called the Analog 3D. I don't know a whole lot about this. This is pretty recent. This, right, was announced today, maybe?
Yeah, it was announced this morning. We're recording on Monday. They had teased an announcement last week, and people just thought it'd be like, hey, it's a new color of Analog Pocket, because they keep putting out like limited edition Analog Pockets. But yeah, this is a FPGA console. If you don't know what FPGA is, it is basically, it's hardware emulation, right? So it's not like, the Analog Pocket and this upcoming Analog 3D, they don't use like software emulation like most emulation devices do. This is like acting as if it's a real console, so it'll play your games perfectly, right? So this will be like an N64 that has 4K resolution output. I think there was some other really interesting stuff too. It basically just seems like a great modern way to play your N64 collection. So that's exciting for people who are fans of retro games.
Nice. We talk about the NPD, which is now known as Circana. From time to time, they do the tracking of sales and trends in the video game industry in the United States. We just thought it'd be funny to mention this. Apparently, according to Matt Piscatella, who puts out this information, we got the Wii U sold one unit in the past the past month, because I think that's how they track it or what have you. So some store somewhere
in the US,
some store somewhere had one Wii U on their shelf, and
It was new.
and it was still sitting there and got sold and was tracked.
And when was the last time they sold one?
Right, that's a good question.
That's a real question.
I think I read an article and it was like, no, it was a couple of years ago, I believe.
No.
Yeah.
I think it's been a while. They haven't been making them. I mean, I don't know. But
I bet they've sold more since the announcement that the eShop.
I was just going to say,
internet's
I'm sure
going
that
down.
this is someone who was like, okay, this will be funny to play the games that you won't be able to play.
Well, it's also like now, and we talked a little bit about the Pretendo network last week, and I think I think that was last week, or I don't know. Time is a fucking mystery. But it's like, now, especially since these consoles like your 3DS and your Wii U are going offline, now's the time to hack them, mod them, and do whatever you want with them, right? Because there's literally no way that Nintendo can even go in and see if you've done anything. You know what I mean? Work on, any kind of, pirate server or whatever that you want to do, right? Like now this is like the end of life thing. So I would expect that we'll see more of these consoles being sold, especially now that this announcement has happened.
So the last one that was sold was in May of 2022. Last time a new one was sold was May of 2022.
Nice. Been a year and
let's go.
And some change.
Yeah, a year and a half.
So
That's wild. Where did he find that thing?
It's weird.
An abandoned Funko land.
Well, we'll move on unless there's anything else about the one Wii U sale that we all want to talk about. To Princess Peach Showtime. The box art for this game, or the cover art for this game, has been tweaked, and without any fanfare. It's quietly done behind the scenes, and people noticed it, and so we're talking about it. I'm gonna pull this up for our video viewers, and they have slightly changed Peach's face to kind of resemble the movie version, I guess, right?
It certainly looks more like it. At least the main render of Peach in the middle does look a lot more like movie.
Yeah, the
Peach
main
to me.
one.
The Kung Fu Peach also got altered. Like her expression is altered too.
It looks a little more angry or more intense, right?
It's more like determined is maybe the word I would use.
Yeah.
Just overall more expressive, I would say.
Yeah.
You know, like Peach has kind of historically just had the big, like,
I'm
Sailor Moon
surprised.
eyes, you know,
Like,
yeah.
Bo Peep.
Yeah, very much so, right? And I think I think this is good. I mean, I think if you're gonna, especially if Peach is like starring in her own game for the first time, like having like really good like expressiveness is good, especially when you've got a game where you're taking on all these different identities and perspectives, like as Peach. Like I think showing that like gamut of like facial animation, I think that's a great thing. So I'm excited for this.
I don't know if it means anything though, like, right? Like, is it just the cover art? Like, or do you think they're going to change renders in the game to match?
I hope so. Be nice.
Yeah.
It would be cool if she had like expressions in the game.
Not just a surprised face.
Right? Wouldn't it be neat if women had emotions? Oh, wait, hold on. We made that
already
mistake
did
in
that.
the first game.
We already did that. You're going to Canceled Island.
Don't do that. It's a terrible place. Yeah, so that's just an interesting little thing. I don't know if it means anything, but there's not much else to talk about there. So we'll move on.
I guess the only thing to really mention is that it's a lot of people were saying like, oh, is this like a Kirby situation where they make Kirby have really like angry eyes in America and he's always really happy in Japan?
I wouldn't even describe her as angry looking.
Yeah. This is international. This was every box art was changed.
Yes.
Is what I'm saying. Yeah.
Kind of a couple of news items here to lead us into our live service discussion, but Minecraft, we don't talk a lot about it here, but Minecraft had a big event called Minecraft Live Event, where they had a vote for like a new mob that joins the game. And we voted in our house because we play Minecraft over here. And the armadillo won, much to my kid's disappointment. He wanted the penguin. But they also announced at this event that Minecraft has sold 300 million copies. Minecraft is the best-selling game of all time, and it already was before this. And now it is like a bajillion ahead of everybody else. It's kind of mind-blowing. Like if you look at the top 5 or whatever, it's like insane.
Man, I read the show notes before we recorded and I just kind of glazed over that number, but like hearing you say it out loud, it's like such a significant portion of the global population.
It's nuts. 300 million. The next one is Grand Theft Auto 5 and it's around 185 million. So like it's almost twice as much as the next one below it.
Grand Theft Auto 5 has been like re-released like so many times over 10 years too. Like
you know what I mean? Minecraft, right?
Yeah, the different editions and different
I do own like 3 versions of Minecraft and I never play any of them.
You're pumping up the numbers, David.
It only needs to sell 30 million more units to have enough units most to equal that of the United States population. According to the most recent census. Yes.
Oh boy. So to think, whether you want to argue that Minecraft's a live service game, we will talk about it later. That's a lot of sales for a game that they continually update for now over a decade.
Buy it once.
Yeah. We'll talk about that because that's actually something I want to talk about. But
yeah.
But another sort of live service announcement that's related to Nintendo a little bit more directly is Pac-Man Mega Tunnel Battle Chomp Champ coming out in early 2024. I guess this game actually already existed on Stadia. It used to be a Stadia exclusive.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
It did. Yeah. And so it's been gone since then, since Stadia is gone. Gosh. But now they are bringing it to like every platform, everywhere. And it is strikingly similar in some ways. I guess you could say it's pretty different in some ways to Pac-Man 99. And I think now we know why, at least in part, Pac-Man 99 went away because they were going to be bringing this game. So
I think that's pretty fair assessment to make that conclusion that this is probably why they brought it down. So everybody stop talking about how F-099 is going away any day. But I think this is all really eerily similar to Super Bomberman R Online. I don't know if you guys played that, but for a while there was a standalone Bomberman Battle Royale game that was free, right? That was
also on Stadia, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah. But it was one of the many live service games that have been shut down. You know what I mean? And then that got looped into the most recent release of Super Bomberman R, which is a game that you pay for, right? Not just run on microtransactions. But this game, Pac-Man Mega Total Battle Chomp Champ, excellent title, by the way. Is it? Has really similar gameplay to that, where it's like a whole bunch of individual Pac-Man screens that you kind of go between, right? The Bomberman one was kind of like that, where it was a bunch of Bomberman screens that had like 4 people each on them, but you could go into other people's screens like as you go. So this looks really similar. It does not look as fun as Pac-Man 99, I think, personally. I think some people think it looks more fun. We'll see. It looks like a lot more complicated, and I guarantee you, I don't think they've said that it's going to be free to play or not, but if this game is free to play, like, it's fucking dead on arrival.
I think it is.
No way. Yeah, I think this game.
It's got skins and stuff for sure, and like, so I would assume those are purchasable, which makes me think it's probably free. But
yeah, I mean, having a game like this filled with microtransactions, it's not going to fly. You know, I just don't think that. I don't think people are going to be playing this that much. But I'd love to be proven wrong. It looks like fun. If it is free, I'll definitely try it out. Because I do love me some Pac-Man.
I think that's going to take us into our main topic. We're going to take a short break. And when we come back, we're going to be talking all about the games as a service or live service games model and the current state of that. We are back. And this week we have decided to talk about live service games, also sometimes called games as a service, lots of other living games, et cetera, but in light of many live service games being shut down and killed this year, I think there was a Kotaku article that was keeping track, and they stopped in August and they had 54. But also, I think live service games are kind of as popular as ever too. Like, it's a weird time in some respects for this subgenre of games. So I think we're going to talk about what it means, what is a live service game, kind of briefly the history of it, the good, the bad, why so many are getting shut down, and that sort of thing. And
I think it'd also be interesting to jump into how Nintendo's approach as well to live service games, how they do things a little bit differently, and then how they avoid a lot of like the pitfalls and the kind of closures of a lot of these games, which, are happening. A lot of live service games are getting canceled before they even come out, and so it'd be great to kind of see like what Nintendo's doing right in regards to that.
Well, I think that, there are certain genres of games that you could argue aren't live service games the way it's often talked about, but kind of are, like MMOs. So the history of this, I think it's kind of like any genre. It's a little bit gray where one thing begins and one thing ends. I think the idea in my mind of what defines a live service game is a game where the developers are going to be continually supporting the game indefinitely, right? Like, is part of it, right? And whether that's through small things or big things, whether it's through monthly payments or microtransactions or optional, cosmetics, there's also some sort of continued monetization to allow them to continue developing and create and working on it. That is not a succinct definition. Does that work for you, or do you think there's other, or is that leaving something out?
So I don't think it's like forever adding on, right? So I would consider like Madden or FIFA, now FC, or like NBA 2K, like these kind of sports games as live service games, even though they put out a new one every year, because like when you do Madden Ultimate Team, right? Like they're doing updates releasing cards and packs and doing different drills to like build your team in different ways. So it keeps you engaged until they make you buy another
next
Madden
one.
game the next year.
Right.
But realistically, I think it's just kind of any game that's like updating to keep you engaged the entire time, whether it be forever or, you know, a year, something like that. But you know, there's other things that I wouldn't consider, but we'll get into that later.
I think forever is a flexible word here.
Sure.
Almost. Which I realize forever is not a flexible word.
But the way I
like,
said it, yeah.
Well, no, because like you bring up all of these sports games, and I'm like, well, that's how Splatoon was too, and I would call Splatoon live service because, like, obviously they're not still updating Splatoon 1, but it functions similarly where they continue to roll out updates like 1 and 2.
And then they made a next
so like
one,
so I understand your sports reference thanks to Splatoon. That's what I'm saying.
Splatoon is certainly live service. I think that it's hard to really define it, right? As like, it's hard to like put it in a like, this is what a live service game is, but it is easy to talk about a lot of the common elements between them, right?
Yeah.
To me, what I immediately think of is any game that has a shop that has rotating items for sale. Oftentimes, I think that's something that's not in Splatoon. I mean, they have that in a way, right? Like Splatoon has shops and all these things set up and like gotcha style things that would be in live service games and all be microtransactionable, you know, outfits and whatever to pick up, but they all just use in-game currency that you can't buy in real life. You know what I mean?
Are you like drawing your line where are you just saying that live service games have to have microtransactions?
No. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying that a lot of them do. I think like Nintendo games tend not to, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
right.
But I think
you're already jumping the like, this is how they're doing it right. Because they have the same mechanic of it of like getting you to keep coming back to the game because you don't know what items are going to be in the shop, even though it's in-game currency.
I'm just talking generally. I'm saying like how most people do it is they generally have an in-game shop that uses an in-game currency that you can buy with real money that has items that are limited time only and you can only get them for a certain amount of time. Think something like Fortnite, think something like Warzone, tons of different stuff. This also has a lot of similarities with mobile games as well.
I was gonna say, mobile games.
Yeah, these are basically. I kind of feel like live service games are almost like the mobile gamification of console and PC games, right? It's taking a lot of the monetary elements out of mobile gaming, inserting them into games like that, right? Another thing that I kind of often associate with live service games is taking what should be a sequel to a game and just taking the number off of the game and just having that be the thing, right? Like Forza Motorsport just came out recently, comes to mind, right? Like they want that to just be the Forza Motorsport going forward that they can just build and build on forever, right? You know, stuff. Oftentimes you'll see games with like infinity or infinite in the title, like Halo Infinite, right? It's like, this is the one that we're just going to have going for as long as we can, right? So you see that happening a lot. I think Trackmania just did that as well, right? Like Trackmania has had all these different sequels. Now they're like, Trackmania is a platform now. We're just going to only do this going forward. Trackmania, also pretty fucking awesome game. But those are some things that I associate with it. And then, you know, another thing I associate with live service games is like failure. You know, it's like, I feel like a lot of live service games that come out tend to be half-baked. You know, it's like they spend a really long time on like one mode and then spend the rest of the time on asset creation for things that will end up being in the shops. And so because of that, there's never a lot of depth in a lot of live service games. It's very face value. It's the only real entertainment that you can get out of a lot of live service games is the community that forms around it. So if the community doesn't latch on, the game is dead in the water and there's not a lot of like actual, you know, teeth sinkable content in there for you to really get going on anything. You know, we see that with the Avengers game, which just got delisted, right? Like, you know, that was a game that had a pretty decent single player, but they kind of shoehorned a bunch of live service stuff into it, and that kind of ended up killing the game because the only way you could really play is by grinding and then doing that with friends, and nobody had any interest, and so nobody played the game anymore, right? So that's kind of the main things that I associate with games as a service or live service games.
Well, I think that's an interesting thing to talk about. Maybe we can go there, which is like I think there are a lot of very successful live service games currently happening, depending on your definition of them, right? There are tons, and they're very popular games, but I think it's hard to start a new one, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think to do it, you kind of have to have a decent product, but you also have to be very flexible, right? Because these games change and evolve. And like, think about something like Destiny 2, when it came out, people hated it. And they did a bunch of changes, and now it's one of the big ones, right? And I think that requires a lot of money and time and like flexibility and change that, like, if somebody's like, turn the Avengers into a live service game, after you've come up with a lot of stuff, then you don't have the flexibility, right? Or you know what I mean? Like I'm rambling, so cut me off. But I think these games are really like take a certain attitude that a lot of people are just looking at the numbers and saying, let's make a game to make money indefinitely, and not thinking about the core things they would need to do that successfully. And there's already so many. So you got to convince some people to jump ship from something to come to yours, right? Or you got to find new audiences of younger people or something. And that's hard to do, right? Like in the numbers you need to support these kinds of games.
Yeah, you're right. It's kind of like you need a lot of like upfront capital to float you through turbulent times at the start of the game to have any sort of chance going forward at all, right? Same is true back in the MMO days, when that was like the only real online games that were like this. There was a ton of stuff that started really slow and then eventually took off, right? And then there's obviously stuff that peaked really big early on and then fell off like really fucking fast. But I think you are right that because there are a number of games out there that are very successful, putting out a new one, it's like, I don't know, man. It's like trying to release like a fucking record online and try to get a hit without any like backing of, like a major publisher or something like that. It's like
go into it wanting to for it to be a live as a service. I feel like it has to end up being successful, and then you can decide. Like, I'm going to bring up Stardew Valley as an example, because I think I'm about to start playing that again, because another update just released with a bunch more content. Not a game I ever expected to be a game as a service, but like the amount of updates that have come out on that thing since launch, because it did well. And I don't think that developer expected it to be a thing that he was just going to keep rolling updates out for.
Are any of those updates
paid?
No. We have the same question.
They're all, if you bought it, you got it.
Oh, cool.
Yes. So yes, listener, if you have Stardew Valley and you haven't played it in 2 years, there's a bunch of new stuff that you can go check out.
And there's no way to throw money at Concerned Ape though, right? Like,
sure,
do they have a shop?
They've got new products. So like there's a tabletop game I've been considering getting.
Like within the game itself.
No, there's no microtransactions within the game.
Which this gets into a weird area for me, which I'm not sure I consider that a live service game.
But why not?
Because
that's a good question, but I also feel the same way. I want to know what you think.
I think because that's just a game that's getting updated, and I know that that's a weird.
How is an update not
because
it's a service?
Because
it's a live update.
Because I think of a live service game or games as a service. The idea is that I am encouraged to, though may not be required to, spend money in that ecosystem, and I'm not like I don't think that it's not adjacent or like its own interesting thing. Like,
what if we were to turn this into spending money in the ecosystem as a larger, like spending money on Stardew Valley merch? Like, it's bringing me back there every single time there's a new update. Like, they just announced that there's a concert tour that's happening, and there's like, they just restocked the tabletop game, and they've got like a cookbook coming out that they want you to pre-order, Would you not?
But then-
would you
But
consider
then that's just a
encouraging you
brand
to-
at that point, you know? Like that's
Yeah.
just like somebody being popular with a brand, I think.
It's
So,
like an IP.
so a
I don't
counterpoint
know.
to this too is like, there's so many like farming sims and games like that, right? And these updates, I would consider it a live service game because
They're bringing you back
there's-
to this one.
they're trying to basically monopolize the farming sim industry, right? Like you look at Animal Crossing, right? Like it updates itself, not a live update. Like it updates itself season to season, and it's the same thing over and over. But they're not doing anything with it, so nobody's thinking like, I want to buy Animal Crossing now. But like, if you want to get into a farming sim and you want to be engaged, like you look at Stardew Valley, who will update constantly and not charge you. Like that is live service in a different sense of no microtransactions, but I'm trying to sell my game to people who like farming sims.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of with Patrick on this. I like that we're split and that there is no like clear definition for this necessarily, right? But it's like, but I kind of feel like it's like having a marketplace within the game is kind of essential for it. And that's kind of why it's like so odd to me that Splatoon is like kind of a live service game and they build it like a live service game, but you buy it once and that's it. And I mean, like, is any game with DLC like live service at that point? I don't think so. I think that, and I think, I don't even know if
'cause
something
DLC
like
is something different.
Yeah. Well, like No Man's Sky is a game that is like continually evolved over time and like has online, but I don't think there are microtransactions in No Man's Sky.
I see it listed as a live service game when I was doing
I thought
research
there
for
were.
this.
Yeah.
So I don't actually know if you can buy stuff in it. And I
I
think
love how
it's an
this episode has
interesting.
just turned into like what is live service?
Well, I
We're,
do
like, trying
think
to figure it
that's
out.
a really legit question, and I don't think Summer is wrong or like I am
Right.
right. I just think like it's a lot of gray here because it's kind of there's both this idea of continuing to support it, and then in my mind, this idea of monetizing that continued support. And you could make
Which
an
is where I
argument.
think we're getting like tripped up about, like, it almost feels like you want to have like a preconceived notion about what like that live service means a cash grab, when I think it's maybe evolved past that as like live services, like we're going to continue to service the people who have supported the game.
I guess I just yeah, I don't know. I see, for me, I just have such a negative connotation with it. And I think the reason that I have such a negative connotation of it is because I think it's a fucking cancer on the video games industry, right? I think that it has become the thing that people who don't understand anything about fucking games want to make. It's the publishers who are in it just for profit, see something like Epic's Fortnite or Destiny 2
Or even like Candy
Counter-Strike
Crush.
2 or Candy Crush. Yeah, going back to the mobile comparison. It's like the connotation I have with live service is not like, oh, here we're throwing the gamer like a solid. And I mean, yeah, sure, technically maybe some of those could be, but for my money and the reason that I kind of wanted to do some of this episode and talk about it and get to the crux of it is that I think it's like I think it's bad for the industry. And I think especially knowing, all of these studios that spend millions and millions of dollars and years to have a game come out and then not have a user base within 2 months and then have the entire staff of the studio laid off because they can't afford to keep it up is unsustainable, and then where are these people going to go? All of the other studios are trying to make these things too, and then having similar turnover with their groups. And we're just getting to a situation where no one wants to take risks on like single player games at higher budgets anymore. It's like there's only space for that like in the indie space. And it's kind of like with Hollywood, right? It's like you get like super indie movies and then you get like big AAA Hollywood movies. And there's no like, like mid-budget feature anymore, like coming into theaters, right? I'm kind of seeing a similar thing with games. It's like we've got small indie teams and then we've got like either big multiplayer, live service games or like exclusives, which are getting all kind of samey, like look at the Sony stuff. And even Sony is going like live service with a bunch of their upcoming games, right? They've got like 7 games that are still going to be coming out. So I think for me, I think that's the only reason I push back on that is like, I just have such a negative connotation in my mind for it. And it's hard for me to shake. And there's good ones, obviously, but I just see so many people losing their jobs every fucking day on Twitter. It's like nonstop barrage of game industry people losing their jobs. And it's hard for me to like get excited about this kind of model, you know? So I just wanted to rant.
No, you're great. I think it's really interesting. I think I had somewhat the same idea, and then I started researching for this episode and started thinking about it. In just Googling live service games and news and stuff over the last 3 years, there's been so many articles written that say something to the effect of the live service game model is dying. But then I started to try to make a list of some of the most popular live service games. And I came up with a big list of very popular games that are still doing very well, that are very well supported. And I know people that play lots of these, and some of them I don't, but some of like League of Legends, but I know that's like a fucking enormous game.
Right.
And maybe some of these big games are maybe seeing some dips in revenue. I don't know. But what I kind of came away with is like, it's hard to compete against the 20 some odd very popular live service games, even though they're all doing it differently, you know? And like, it's hard to start a new one, and people are trying to start a new one to make money and not to make a good game, maybe, or to listen to their player base, because I think that's what you have to do, right? Like Counter-Strike 2 is a great example. I know that's pretty new, you know, the last couple months. And I know there's been a lot of people upset about certain parts of it.
Very maligned.
But there's also people that love certain parts of it. And I think, you know, Valve's going to continue tweaking stuff, right? And going to get all those Counter-Strike players back on board. You know, my cousin plays a ton of Counter-Strike and he loves it. So my view is a little skewed by listening to him talk about it. But they're already making change. You know, it's just like they have this team to do that because they did it with Counter-Strike Go. Like, but if you just are Sony and you want to like make a new one with new IP, or even with existing IP like Marvel's Avengers, like that's tricky, right? Like it's hard to compete with these people from day one. And I don't know what the answer is. I just think it's really a fascinating topic, you know, like, because it's like, I don't know. I started with this, I hate it, but then I kind of came around to like, but some of these games that are real popular, I know people love. So man, yeah,
I fucking hate it. I just do. Like, I don't know. There's so many like mobile games, and even like anything with the battle pass like drives me insane. I don't know why, but like when I see it, I just turn red. I've always associated like live service with just greed, really. You know what I mean? And maybe there's 5% like the Stardew Valley example, like that's fine, but it's just like the reason these live service games exist is just to like hang you upside down and dump all the coins out of your pockets. You know what I mean? Like you get stuck on, you know, like Candy Crush is one where you get stuck on a level for like 5 days and you're like, all right, I'll spend $20. I've spent more money on dumber shit. And it's like, and then that just keeps adding up and up and up. And you know, then you're playing Pokemon Unite and you want to get better costumes for your Snorlax, so you're spending 20, but like it just keeps
they have like
going.
$50 costumes, and
that's what I mean.
Unite,
and it's like,
it's insane. A
lot of the shit is just cosmetic, and it's like, I don't know.
But never paying to win is criticized more. Like I don't know. I've kind of come more nuanced on this after like thinking through it. Like, because
Monochrome Heights is game as a service confirmed.
I would like to bring up an example after just having I had a conversation with a friend just the other night that when she uninstalled the original Love Live School Idol Festival game, which is no longer available. They're working on like the sequel or whatever. And so I played this game a lot. I never spent any real money on it. I would just like, this is a game where you would pay to win because you could pay to get like better cards. It was a gacha system, but better cards would have better abilities. So like if you weren't perfectly good at the timing, like there were things that would like smooth that out for you, right? So technically you could play to win. My friend the other night told me that she's like, I should have known like gambling, like addiction runs in my family. She spent $600 on Love Live because she was like obsessed with getting certain cards and certain abilities. And it's not just cosmetic. It's not just cosmetic in that game. Right. And you don't realize it. Like what you're saying is like, oh, I've spent less money. No, No,
It adds up.
it adds up so.
Well,
I
and
kind of did the same
fast.
thing with Mario Kart Tour, where I was just like, oh, I'll buy like, $20 of rubies here and there to get the characters I want, because like it helps you with the levels. And then all of a sudden you're like, holy shit, I spent like $200 like in the last couple months on this stupid game. Like,
Right. Yeah.
And then the people that they want aren't even people like you. Like the people that keep games like those alive are the whales, right? It's the people that spend like thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like you only need a couple whales to keep a game going, right? And then you've got like a little sea of minnows that like, spend $1 here and there. And you got some bigger fish, but it's the whales, like the few people that spend a fuck ton of money and just don't give a fuck, have no life other than that. Like are the ones that like actually keep games like that going, right?
I gotta find the Fire Emblem Heroes whales so they'll pay for my Fire Emblem cosplays. I'm just like thinking about that. I'm like, God damn, where are they?
I think Austin's a Fire Emblem.
Here's the thing. Like if you can play one of these games for like a decade or two or whatever and spend, several $100s, I don't think that's a problem, because the other model that we're talking about of releasing a sequel every few years, you're going to spend that much in that amount of time too. Right. And so like a game like something like League of Legends or even like Fortnite or something where like the core game doesn't change that much, to me, that's not a problem. It might be if, and where it's that predatory part of it could be, right? Like, but versus like Street Fighter or something where you release a new one every few years and you've probably spent the same, you've probably spent $300 on all your Street Fighters over the time. But if you're spending that $300 in 2 weeks or 2 months or whatever, because the game is UI and user experience, people are like, that's a problem we have, not just in games too, right? Like, and the games as a service name comes from software as a service, where they've found ways to add in monetization to things that used to just be one-time purchases, like Adobe, where now you pay subscription fees. And if you want this feature, you need to pay extra and tiers and things. Yeah. I don't know. I'm again just rambling. So
no, you're inspiring me.
Yeah.
I think we need to start working on like educational resources, just like a lot of other things. I'm just going to go ahead and say sex and alcohol, having a healthy relationship with live service games.
Yeah.
And like knowing your limits, knowing when it's time to quit.
Knowing your budget,
like understanding yourself, like conversations to have with your kids, right? How to talk to your
Among
kids about
Us
live
and
service
Minecraft,
games.
I think are arguably live service games. I think you could argue that both of them are not.
Any game where a child can accidentally spend mom's credit card it falls into this category.
Well, you know what the worst offender of that is? Roblox.
Yes, Roblox.
We can't even talk about that.
That happened to my cousin.
This is where we insert a link.
$100s.
Yep, we're inserting a link right now to the investigative journalism piece about how Roblox is just a fucking MLM for children.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think a lot of live service is MLM.
Do not let your children, quote unquote, play Roblox, please. I'm on my hands and knees.
Yeah. And I think
that one.
I think like something like Roblox, to a lesser extent, Minecraft. I feel like Minecraft is far less predatory.
No, Minecraft's great because it's a one-time purchase.
Someone explain Roblox to me.
Roblox is technically not a game. They cannot file it as a game because of the way that like it functions in its like system. Roblox is like, it's effectively, I don't want to call it akin to like Unity or something, is like a place where kids can build games, but they can pay for assets, and then they can like, by putting so much work and time, it's basically sold to kids as like, you can become a game developer and you can make money on this game, on the games that you make, and you can make games in this ecosystem. And so many kids think that and believe that because they're kids, right? And like it's marketed to kids. And so they are creating more content for Roblox as a whole, but like the threshold that they have to hit in order to see any kind of a return on this, literally children are being exploited. And I'm talking like 10-year-old children are being exploited for their time and resources to continue to build what is Roblox, and then they don't see any money from it. And that's how Roblox exists. So Roblox itself isn't a game. They like exist through effectively children making the game for them. Shit's fucked.
Yeah, it's
I
like
hate it so much.
It's
I
like,
warn every time I find out somebody has kids and like a computer, I'm like, you don't let them play Roblox, right? Like, I'm very passionate about that. I'm sorry. Like Minecraft is like, oh yeah, they're building shit. Like, okay.
yeah, and the stuff you can buy in Minecraft is like very separate feeling. It's like skins and different people's creations you can purchase, but it's
I didn't even know that that was a thing in Minecraft.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
Oh, it's a big thing.
Well, Minecraft has always been like mod focused. It's been very open. You know, it's been very like, I think that's been something that's been great about it. And on all the
most
platforms,
of it was open source.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is, I mean, Microsoft bought it, so it's like it's owned by Microsoft, but like at this point, but yeah, it's definitely like Roblox is like evil Minecraft, right? It's like it is like it was
right?
like
it looks worse. It's just worse for your kids.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, stuff like that is I think absolutely terrifying, and I think that, but a lot of games see that and they see the billion-dollar Roblox industry and they want to emulate it, right? And I think that this is also where you see like metaverse and stuff come into it, right? Like in a way, like what everybody wanted out of metaverse was the live service gamification of the internet. It's like just taking these kind of like microtransaction models and applying it to everyday life, And it's funny that, Patrick, you were talking about how it came from subscription models of service-based software into games, and then that's kind of like looped back into services again, and it's kind of like it's very cyberpunk, and it's very dystopian, I think. And it is also, I think, to me, something that's deeply sad about the live service like genre, if you want to call it, is just how fleeting it all is. And we've had this discussion a lot on this show about how, everything, the world's going to, burn up, and the sun is going to explode and we're all going to die. So nothing's forever anyway. But it's like, it's sad enough to have people lose their jobs. I think the really sad thing is like a lot of games that are built like this, like you'll just never even know that they ever fucking existed, in like, 20 years. Like no one, they say you die a couple times, like you die when your body dies and then you die again when the last person on earth utters your name, like a lot of fucking like live service games, like that's gotta be like a year or two, you know what I mean? Like before like the last person forgets about it. I will never ever stop saying Mario Brothers 35 for that reason, to keep it alive in my heart. But it's like, games that you can't have a pirated version of and like play in an offline mode and stuff. It's like stuff that just like gets lost like a fart in the wind. Like, I don't know. I think to me, it's just like a deeply sad state of gaming, and the impermanence like kind of gets to me, in a way that doesn't feel very good.
But a lot of these games wouldn't be fun, right? Just you in an offline mode. I think that's the key, right? Like you're not going to play, I don't know,
Fortnite.
Yeah, Fortnite by yourself. Because
I just like to build, bro.
I won.
There was a friend when I was first told to play Fortnite. It was with a friend who literally just wanted to sit in the builder, and I didn't understand what the game was. I'm like, oh, this is what you do? Why don't you just play Minecraft?
Anyway, but that's maybe like a different thing. I might maybe went on a little.
No, I see what you're saying. Like that. Well, it's a tough year for the games industry. I almost put this in the show notes and suggested we talk about it, but I forget where it was. Gamesindustry.biz or somewhere put out something that in 2023 there's been over so many layoffs that over 6,000
it's bad.
jobs have been lost in the games industry. So, and I think when you see 53 or whatever live service games shut down this year and 6,000 jobs lost, it's hard not to put those things together, that this model can work for certain types of games, for certain types of developers, for people that know what they're doing or like are committed to it for the long haul, but it's not going to work as a quick way to make money, right? You've got to listen to your players and you've got to treat them fairly, and both financial, what I mean, be in a financial and a gameplay and a aesthetic way and all that. And that's hard to do. Because it is a lot of people coming in trying to just make something that's going to make them money fast.
Yeah. And I feel like we just got to the point where like normal people are like understanding that video games can be art. Right. So let's not like, it's like, let's not like immediately fucking jump the shark. Right. And just like completely run that into the ground. Right. Let's have a little bit of good graces with some of like the ordinary people out there that, who raised us to be like, video games are going to rot your brain. And then they see a game like Grease or something and they're like, oh my God, this is like incredible. And then like they see this and they're like, nope, I was right. Let's try to like ride that wave a little bit. Right.
Yeah. Well, did we talk enough about Nintendo's approach? I think we can maybe hit that up before we close out. I think the 99 games and NSO is really, we talk about Splatoon, but I think Splatoon kind of fits more that like plays like one and then they release a new one, which sort of is tied in, but
let's talk a little bit more about Splatoon before we get to 99s, because I do find it very, very weird how that's set up. It's like they want to be a live service game so bad, and they, for all intents and purposes, should. Like, there shouldn't be a Splatoon 1, a Splatoon 2, and a Splatoon 3 that you buy for $60 each time. It should just, I feel like it should theoretically just
Splatoon.
Yeah, it should just be. I'm not saying I want it to be that. I think it's better that it's this way. Ultimately, maybe. I don't know. This is like a question. But it's like the model of Splatoon is set up to be a forever game that you just get constant updates and you get skins for, but they don't do that. Why do you think that is?
So when Splatoon first came out, it was a really good replacement for me personally from Overwatch, which is hardcore game as a service, right? Like it doesn't cost anything technically to play. They try to get you to buy shit. They're microtransactions. And that wasn't even like the piece that I put together at first with Splatoon. For me, it was just like, oh, the matches are shorter. It's better for my attention span. Mm-hmm. So I'm surprised that I don't see a lot of other people making like that very specific connection of like Splatoon to Overwatch, because like the modes are very similar and like like it's colorful and like we have all of this weird lore that you only know about if you want to know about it kind of stuff. Like I see all of these parallels. So for me, I almost wonder if that's what it is like we're like Overwatch, but like without being weirdly racist and like hanging you by your ankles for your pocket change. Yeah. Like they're emulating the like feel of it without actually doing that to me.
Yeah, I think they're afraid to have a game cost money on top of their subscription service costing money.
I think they're doing it to have the same like feeling of it. Yeah.
Do you think that is an Iwata thing? Like, do you think that could change?
Yeah.
I think anything could change.
I don't think it can change as long as you're paying for an online subscription with them. I think.
Oh, we're paying it because we're paying for NSO, you guys.
Yeah. So I think that's what it is. I think as long as you're going to pay an online subscription, we're probably as Nintendo fans, like, not going to pay for microtransactions or anything like that until that goes away, right?
Are we all paying for a Splatoon battle pass without realizing it with NSO?
Well, kind of. Some people are, right? Like, I mean, whether it's Smash or whatever, I know there's people that really only have it for one online game.
Yeah.
Well, that's an interesting thing because a lot of even on, Xbox, PlayStation, these platforms that have had paid online for a really long time, it's almost always that free-to-play games are exempt from that, right? Like, you don't have to have a PlayStation Plus online membership in order to play Call of Duty Warzone, for instance, or Fortnite, right? Like, those are all kind of exempt from that, right?
Yeah.
So
you need it for Nintendo.
But you need it for Nintendo.
You need it to play Fortnite. You need it for Fortnite on Nintendo because you need it for Nintendo online access, period.
Is that true? I actually don't know if that's true. I think Fortnite you can play for free.
I thought you could, but
really?
I might be wrong.
Yeah.
We don't know, so we should.
I've never not had online service, so I went no.
Yeah, no, it's all good. Yeah, I think mine just actually I need to collect. I think my
it's coming up, everybody.
My Switch children they owe me some fucking money right now. But anyway, but no, that's a really fascinating point there, and that's something that I guess let's get to. I mean, I guess there's no real answer for the Splatoon thing. I think it's like I think the answer is they wanted to emulate it because they know that that's popular, but they couldn't bring themselves to actually stoop so low as to actually make a live service game, right? So,
and I think their model is to make a new game, and they're used to that, and like so
Right.
they're like gonna support it for X amount of time, 2 years is what it seems like, and then probably start working on Splatoon 4, right?
That's another thing too, is they have hard deadlines on the amount of content that it's going to get, which is fascinating. You know,
Yeah, they tell
no
us
other
it's
game would
single-player
ever
mode?
want to do that.
and there is a single player mode. Yeah,
In Splatoon. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, they do a lot of that stuff. You know, it really is a full game. It just we want to make it feel like one as much as possible. But anyway, real game. Yeah, but no, let's talk about that. What you just talked about, Summer, that's fascinating. That Nintendo's kind of the opposite. How it's like the free games on other platforms you don't need the online subscription for, but the free games, the free
They're
live
not
service games
free.
on Nintendo platform
They're
are bundled
included.
with the online
Right.
service.
You're
It's kind
paying
of the
for it.
opposite.
You're paying
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah, it's funny that with Nintendo Switch Online, live service games are bonuses or extras with zero monetization included, right? Outside of some DLC packs, you know, like Pac-Man 99 had some DLC, Tetris 99 had some DLC. We're all expecting F-Zero 99
Well,
to
it's
have
just-
some paid DLC, but it's like you would think that these games would be like, buy some fucking skins. You know what I mean? Buy themes for Tetris. Nope, they're all free. You know, it's just like literally they are being used as like bait to get you to join their online subscription, which I think is such a more productive way to view live service.
Yeah,
right?
they just
And-
it's because it's packaged differently. We don't necessarily view it the same way.
Yeah. And how big do you think the team is that works on Tetris 99? You know what I mean? Or fucking or
There's
F-Zero
probably
99.
5 guys.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't know.
like these games are lightweight, they are easy
Mhm.
to develop, and they are easy to maintain. And the servers have to be so much less expensive than something like that. Like they're not pumping tons and tons of fucking money into it at all times. I think that is such a more like productive way to view this genre. And I just love that about Nintendo's approach to live service games and how they've kind of dodged the bullet of having to like you know, I feel like they don't have to worry about fucking layoffs or anything like that, right? I think maybe the only outlier here might be that like Kirby racing game or whatever that came out recently, right?
should
Like,
have
I
been
don't know
on
if that
NSO.
kind of, yeah.
Yeah,
You know what I'm talking about? What was that thing called? Dream Buffet.
Dream Buffet.
Yeah,
And that was actually a really fun game.
yeah. It was cheap, right? It was like
It was
wasn't
like
it like
$20.
Yeah, no, I thought
Yeah.
it was You
yeah.
still had to.
But that I don't know if that's live service. Like there weren't microtransactions in that either.
and they didn't
right?
support it.
No,
right?
and they didn't update it.
Yeah. So anyway, I think that I want to see more companies do that. You know, I want to see like, you know, these like PlayStation live service games. Like, I mean, I guess they're kind of doing that with like Game Pass and PlayStation Plus, right? Like, you know, is that just what Game Pass is?
It's just NSO. Yeah.
Yeah, but way more expensive, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah,
You get way more games. So
right.
and
But it's like
they
even like-
rotate, so that's a little different. But yeah,
So is Game Pass just live
Only-
service games for single player games?
it's a subscription
mean,
service,
when
and I think
I would say yes. If NSO is, then so is Game Pass.
I'm starting to fuck my own brain in this
Yeah.
conversation. I think I'm going around in like
I am paying for
Ouroboros.
games as a service by paying for games monthly, whether I play them or not.
Look, all I'm saying is you don't always have to try to make the next Call of Duty Warzone. You don't always have to try to make the next Overwatch. You don't always have to try to make even the next Splatoon with fucking Foam Stars, which is going to be dead on arrival. No one's going to fucking play that free to play
What is
garbage.
Foam Stars?
It's Sony's Splatoon. It's weird.
Ew. Okay.
Or it's Square Enix's Splatoon. But anyway,
Oh,
yeah, I just got your attention. But
Well, they've made a lot of bad crap
but
lately.
what I'm saying is you don't have to like
Oh.
make a giant platform for your battle royale. Sometimes you could just make a fun little game that is fun enough to play to where you keep coming back without having to, you know, give in to your lesser evils.
And I liked Summer's point earlier that a game could evolve into a live service game, right? Like if you make that fun game and it's fun, then you could change your model and start having paid things to update it or whatever. I think we should wrap this up. If anybody wants to maybe make any final comments before we go, we're obviously not going to come to some like statement because it's so convoluted, but
hopefully we've, garnered some thought and discussion amongst you and your peers.
Cleared up any questions you had about live service.
This is kind of just a time for us to just.
And we didn't talk about Final Fantasy 14, critically acclaimed MMORPG at all.
That's true.
I think that it definitely qualifies as one, and I think it's another one of those exceedingly popular ones that exists that shows that this is why people keep trying to do this, because there are so many popular ones.
I can't even tell you what the name of the MMO that Amazon tried to make, because everybody would start to play it and then they were like, fuck this, I'm going back to Final Fantasy.
Brave New World, I think.
Yeah.
Well, Final Fantasy keeps doing their expansion passes too, or whatever they're called. They keep adding on these entire stories.
Yeah.
It's almost like adding on an entire new game to it.
So, and when they do that, they make another expansion free. Like now I think the game is free up to level 70 and now includes it's Heavensward and whatever the one is after that.
Realm Reborn.
No, Realm Reborn is the first one.
That was the first one.
Yeah, which was always free.
But there's a reason that Final Fantasy 14 has succeeded and why Soldier Reborn or whatever that fucking Fortnite clone Final Fantasy 7 game was.
Oh
you know what I mean?
First Soldier or whatever.
Yeah. First Soldier, is that what it was? Yeah.
Yeah.
See, nobody even remembers the name of that game, right?
No.
That
died after 4 to 5 months.
Yeah, it is kaput.
Yeah, it was gone.
But anyway, I think the last thing I'll say is I think that I think that this 99 method of being kind of a cheaper, lower end game that blows up is something that you can do. I think it's just games kind of need to almost be viral in order to succeed in this space, unless they're just being brute forced through by a big AAA studio, right? I'm looking at stuff like you were talking, Among Us, Fall Guys, right? Even though Fall Guys got that Sony money right off the bat, they got a big bag from Sony at the beginning. But it's, things like that, naturally kind of grow, right? And then kind of make the jump are doing a lot better, I think, for this industry overall and promote more creativity within this space, right? Instead of just being another battle royale shooter, right?
Yeah.
That kind of stuff I think is really important for us to support and to foster. If this, we always talk about the bubble bursting, but it doesn't really seem like the bubble's bursting. It just keeps getting bigger, right? Or maybe it's deflating. I don't know. Slowly, but it's certainly not going to pop, right? So let's try to just promote some more creativity, promote smaller teams. What's that meme? I want shorter games made by people who get paid more to work less. Yeah. And I'm not kidding. I think that is what's best for the industry. And I really hope to see that going forward.
Well, obviously there's a lot to say about live service games and who knows? I definitely want to hear if you have any thoughts on anything we said, either, definition or good, bad, whatever about them. So send us a comment. We'll try to shout you out. And with that, we're going to take another short break and then come back and talk about the games we've been playing recently. I always playing a little bit of Splatoon. F-Zero 99 is now in the rotation. Played some Smash with my cousin this week, but all that was just here and there a tiny bit. The main game I probably played this week was Detective Pikachu Returns.
Wow.
And
we beat it.
We have not beaten it. We are got to be super close because again, How Long to Beat does have some entries and they are indeed in the 12 to 15 hour range, and that's where we are. Last I looked, we were at 12, 13 hours in the game. So I assume we're on the last thing, which I'll avoid spoilers and stuff, but I also assume that means there's going to be a third one. I don't know. I just feel like nothing's going to be resolved. At least not the big stuff, but maybe it will. Maybe it'll all come together here in a minute.
It's going to come out on Super Switch and look like a 3DS game.
Yeah, we're right.
I was just going to say that too.
It probably will, honestly, if there is a third one. And I bet you they do make a third one of these, regardless of whether the story ties up.
I'm interested to see how much is actually sold.
Yeah, I will be interested in that too.
Ooh.
I don't know. My thoughts on the game continue to be about the same. It's, it's easy, but it's meant for kids. So how can I complain about that, and they say culprit way too much, like they continue to say culprit nonstop, and it's driving me nuts. But other than that, it's kind of fun to play with the kid. And so hopefully we beat it in the next day or two before the Sonic and Mario madness in our house.
I'll go next. I have beat Myst 3 Exile. I beat that last night, actually. Thank you.
Woo.
Thank you. I rolled credits on 2 games last night. I'll talk about the other one in a second. But man, awesome fucking game, gang. It's like I'm playing all these games from like 1997 to 2001, but I'm really, really enjoying them. Myst 3 was fucking fantastic. I very much thank you to Jordan, who I actually was going to shout out at the top of the show and I forgot. Jordan went with me on a trip to Houston to get treatment at MD Anderson last week. He drove it was like a 6-hour round trip, to get out there, and then just sat with me while I was getting the bag and everything. And it was really, really kind for him to come. Also very kind for him to sit there patiently while I explained the entire Myst lore and canon to him in the car. He acted interested. I don't know. It was 7 a.m. and I'm just so anyway, so Myst 5 isn't really a sequel. It's a sequel to Uru. And well, anyway, but no, Myst 3 was fucking awesome, dude. It was it wrapped up really well. This is a game I played as a kid, but never actually finished. There are bits of it that feel a little old and outdated, but I think it's remarkable, how well these games hold up. Right. And I think that it's that kind of classic, simple narrative and puzzle design and input that makes it to where you could really play this at any point and it feels like you're playing it right when it came out, right? And if you're watching the video right now, hopefully you're seeing a really cool looking roller coaster ride that you get for completing one of the ages. That was a blast to do. Also, these games are really awesome on Steam Deck, and so I've been really enjoying that. And you get a wonderful performance out of one of our best actors, Brad Dourif, playing playing the villain of this game. So that was really nice. Another game I played, something that was a demo I played during Steam Next Fest, which happens every couple months, it seems like.
3 times a year.
3 times a year. Yeah, Patrick, you got to get in on the next one.
I am
man.
doing the next one. Yeah.
Okay, you are doing the next one. Is that a scoop?
I guess so. It's in February. Yeah.
Hell
At least
yeah.
that's the plan for now.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, man. Well, I hope you get tons of wish lists out of that. But yeah, Steam Next Fest is awesome, especially if you're a Steam Deck owner, because you can just go through and grab all these demos and try out all these weird ass indie games you would never hear of otherwise. One of these that I played was Asura the Striker. This game, I think I saw somebody talk about it on Twitter, but it's a game by a Japanese 2-person dev team called Leftover, and it is I guess you would call this a Space Harrier it's kind of over the shoulder. You play this anime girl who's running on the ground and can float up in the air and shoot things, and it's just dripping with style, and the music is fantastic, and it was just really twitchy and shooty and fun, and I really, really enjoyed this game. And then whenever you beat the demo, there's a little song at the end with a woman singing, "Thank you for playing, thank you for playing." It's this really catchy thank you for playing song they made just for the demo, and I was this is so fucking cool. So I really liked that a lot. So if you have a chance before Steam Next Fest ends, check out Asura the Striker. And that I think is coming out at some point next year. It was a pretty beefy demo. I really enjoyed that. I'll go through this real quick here. I've been playing a lot more of Mario Maker 2. Not a lot more, but I've been playing a super world on Mario Maker 2, trying to get into the headspace of Mario Wonder coming out of him, craving 2D Mario. And so again, on Twitter, I saw somebody post about a super world that they had made called Super Mario Dimensions. And I typed in the code. If anyone's interested, I'll just say it once here. It's M9G LVB MPG. You can roll back, record that, and punch it into your Switch if you want to play the super world. It's a lot of fun. I love when people make classic Mario. They're not just Kaizo levels. They're traditional Mario games basically inside Mario Maker. I love that shit, man. And it's nice because I know Mario Wonder is going to be a total weirdo game. So playing some more like standard shit before that game comes out is
it's
pretty
tough to
awesome.
find like a standard world like that. It's typically like all like Kaizo, you know what I mean? So when you find a good standard world, that's awesome.
Yeah, whenever I see something like that, I always jot it down. I always like bookmark it or whatever and save it. Because it's like, hey, if I ever just need like a game to play during a day, 40 levels of Mario. I love it. And then, a couple other things. I talked about Super Mario Brothers Wonder. I played a little bit of that earlier on the high seas. It's awesome. We'll talk about it next week. Played some Vampire Survivors, Words with Freds, which is a Wordle clone that you can play on TV on your Switch. But yeah, last thing I want to say is I replayed Bowser's Fury. I played that on stream last night. Wanted to see if I could beat the whole thing in one sitting. I did so easily. It was like, I think 2 hours, 15, I think, awesome. to roll credits. I mean, that wasn't 100% of the game. I'm going to do that off stream, but I am going to finish it again because, man, that's a really, really fun game to go and revisit. So easy to just like pick up and jump into, and you kind of like forget everything that happened, but then it kind of like comes back to you as you're playing. And it's just such a great little snack, right? It's like such a great, wonderful little snack game. I kind of wish they just released it by itself. It's like a, $10, $15 game. I think a lot of people would have bought it that way, but Bowser's Fury still holds up. Loved it. Can't wait for Mario Wonder. I'm sure we'll be talking about that all next week. Summer, what have you been playing?
Not a ton. So when I have had time to play games, it's mostly been Baldur's Gate 3 still. I have recently gotten to Act 2. Not too many spoilers, but what I will say is that it's perfect for this month of October. And I'm not usually that kind of a person, but I am in this deep. It has been fun to see what I can get away with without getting into actual conflict. I will say that. And the way that I just got through 3 fights, I use that in air quotes, in a row. 3 fights in a row, I didn't have to fight at all. I just talked my way through it because I am a very charismatic bard. And it's always funny getting to see what you can get away with as a bard. And when you can just whip out your fucking flute and just do a little tune and see what happens. That's one of my favorite things. And then Animal Crossing has become my before bed game. Again, that's what I'm doing before I go to bed, just to help myself. After I do the too scary stuff in Baldur's Gate, I gotta smooth my brain out to sleep with Animal Crossing. And then at all other times, I am swiping the Pokestop that is in my backyard in Pokemon Go. Again, definitely participated in the Timber Community Day this past Sunday, even though I don't really love Timber. But you still get a lot of good bonuses for participating in community days. So so I would consider all of that gaming just kind of like my existence. That's not me. Like that's standard, right? I've been really busy, so that's like baseline level gaming for me.
Sure.
Yeah.
Is Pokemon Go a live service game?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. I spent real money for the first time in Pokemon Go because they have what's called like the ticket of treats. And I was like, yes, I want Pumpkaboo to show up in increased numbers. I want the Halloween related perks. I want to raise a good Gorgeist. Okay. So I'm done.
Very good. What about you, Dan? What have you been playing recently?
This week I finally finished Final Fantasy 16. That was a game that like I really loved at the beginning, and they just fucked that game.
Oh no!
Yeah, it was like the story was really, really good. Like they had this politics of like these characters in war between nations. It felt like kind of Fire Emblem-ish, and then they kind of just threw in this like MacGuffin type and like final boss that just didn't land. And I had a very, very hard time just like staying with the game because I was like, now the story kind of sucks. And
man, that's funny. I've kind of heard the opposite. I've heard a lot of people that really didn't like it at the beginning and then really got into it towards the end.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've heard mostly what you're saying.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be very surprised if people liked it more towards the end. I don't know. It just like it had so much potential to be probably like a top 3 Final Fantasy for me, and then I was just like, what are they doing? That's so bad.
That's about it.
But outside of that, I've totally had like new game fatigue this year. So like I'm playing Link's Awakening. I played Super Mario World recently, and I was just like, oh my God, this game is amazing. I love this. Kind of tried speedrunning new Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe again, which is like so much fun. So I just kind of been messing around with like older games until Mario RPG and Mario Wonder and Sonic Superstars. All this stuff comes out at the end that's still a little lighthearted, and then maybe I'll jump back into something, more towards the end of the year. But that's about it for me.
Yeah, it's crazy how much gaming is still to come this year, and it's been such an insanely prolific year for games already.
It's been a crazy year, and I'm just like so burnt out from new games, man. Like I feel like the last 2 years, like I wasn't really that big of a gamer until like pretty recently, and I just like gamed so hard since the pandemic. Yeah. And I'm just like, holy shit.
Yeah. I think it's time for us to all just like get into books for a while.
Well, awesome. Dan, DCD, thanks so much for coming on to join us to talk about the nebulous
thanks
world
for having me, you guys. That was so much fun.
of live service games. Awesome. And thanks to MilkyWay.co for doing our website. Thanks to Corduroy for doing our music. If you're looking for me, Patrick, online, you can find me in most places as PDYX.
You can find me at Weebwitched.
I'm pretty much ever on the internet at Monolith Fiji. And what about you, Dan? Where can people find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at DCDM99 and check out bossrush.com. I'm a copy editor there and starting to get back into writing. And check us out towards the end of February. We're doing an event for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. We're going to be doing all kinds of Final Fantasy stuff and a giveaway. So if you're looking into getting that game, keep this on the calendar for the end of February.
Hell yeah. Very good. You heard it here first, folks. Nintendo's making a 99 out of everything, even DCD.
Oh, yeah.
No, sorry. And if you'd like to find our show on social media, we are at Switch Headz on Twitter, at Super Switch Headz on Instagram and Facebook. We got a website, switchheads.com. And then we also have a Facebook group and a Discord. We'll have links to both of those in the description of the show. Please join the Discord. Such a wonderful community. We love everybody there. We love the Discord, folks. We love the Discord. So join us over there. It's a wonderful place for everyone to enjoy. That's going to do it for this episode on live service games. That got a little like sad and despondent and what's the word I'm looking for? Existential. That got a little existential there for a while, but I think we got out of it. So thanks for sticking with us while we did that. But we're going to be back next week with a much more straightforward topic. We're going to be talking all about Super Mario Brothers Wonder. That's going to be a fucking blast. I can't goddamn wait. So don't touch that dial. So in the meantime, you guys know the drill. Stay safe out there. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to one another. Love your neighbor as you would love yourself. And love yourself. Man, fucking, we all deserve it. Love me, too. I don't know what I'm saying. We love you guys very much. See you next week. Bye-bye.